Hi, my name is Lorenzo Hogans II, paramedic and Christian author, and today's video newsletter topic is going to be why you should consult with God. Let that sink in for a second, and let's think about this. Why should you consult with God? I've got a couple of reasons and a couple of Bible verses that I want to go over today to kind of help you get a better grip on why you should be praying, why you should be reading His Word, and why you should be consulting with God in other ways, such as maybe going to church or fellowshipping with other strong believers who are strong in their spirituality. The first reason that I want to go over is that it's very, very frank. And it's the simple fact that God doesn't need you. You need God. And that's just the sad reality of it. You don't want to fall into the category of being a stiff-necked person, as referred to. The Israelites were referred to stiff-necked people in the book of Exodus, and different groups of people are referred to as stiff-necked people throughout the Bible. But you don't want to fall into that trap of being a stiff-necked person, because then you are going to kind of block blessings from God, and you don't want to block blessings from God, okay? So let's just understand that God doesn't need us, okay? We need God. And where does the saying, or the phrase rather, the stiff-necked person, where does that phrase come from? Metaphor rather. The metaphor is taken from the horse that stiffens his neck against the pull of the rein and will not be guided by the rider. Here you have a horse who's not being a good horsey, and he's not doing what the rider wants him to do. He's stiffening his neck, and he's not allowing to be yoked around and guided by the rider. Now, I think a lot of times we kind of get that syndrome of where we want to be the rider. Okay? I mean, because after all, who doesn't want to be the star of their own life? That's completely understandable. But when it comes to God, we have to put the arrogance aside, okay? Put the ego to the side, and we have to make ourselves open to receiving feedback, okay? And we can do that through prayer, reading the Bible, going to church, fellowshipping with other strong believers. That's the way that we can do this. And so that brings me to my next point, which is God is a loyal friend waiting to help you. Let's hear what David has to say in Psalm 37:40. David writes in Psalm 37:40, "The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them. Because," this next part is important, "because they take refuge in Him." That's all God is looking for. He's looking for you to take refuge in Him. So why don't you go ahead and give Him a call? You've got His number. It's called prayer. All right, you've got a direct line. Okay, one of the most direct ways you can get answers to things is praying. Ask for signs. Ask for a dream. Ask for circumstances to show you what God wants you to do. God has the power to open doors and close doors. And have you ever had a good friend and you wondered why they haven't called? And then you start to get a little antsy, maybe a little bitter, and you may even start to act a little petty. Well, I got news for you. There's evidence that God feels the same way. And he can take actions to let you know that He's feeling that kind of way. And we have evidence of that in Haggai 1:9. Okay? Haggai 1:9 says, "You expected much, but see, it turned out to be little. What you brought home, I blew away. Why? Declares the Lord Almighty. Because of my house, which remains a ruin, while each of you is busy with your own house." Now, what does that indicate? These people are too busy with their own lives, their own material possessions, whatever it is that they've got going on. And God says, you forgot about me. So guess what? I let you build up whatever you wanted to, but I blew it away. Poof, be gone. Because you forgot the creator of this bad boy. It ain't you. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring you back down to earth where I put you to begin with and show you who your creator is. It's basically what he's saying. The next point that I want to make is that you should consult with God. Thirdly, because he can change your destiny. I got a good paramedic buddy by the name of Kirk Pyle, and he also goes by the name of Jermaine. Wise guy. And we were sitting there talking one time, and let me see if I can pull off this Jamaican accent. Hopefully I don't butcher it too much. He sits back and we're talking about life and stuff, and he says, "Hey, Lorenzo, man, have you ever seen ants running around after you drop a crumb and it changes their path, man?" I said, "Yeah, I know what you mean." He's like, "Well, it's not much different with God, man. Sometimes he'll throw us a bone or drop us a little crumb, and it'll change our whole path, man. It'll change our trajectory. That's all." And I said, wow, that's really a powerful metaphor that you gave me, because it really is that way. One song that kind of sticks in my mind is, what's that guy's name? The bald guy with the little tiny hands. CeeLo? Well, he used to go by CeeLo. I can't remember what else he goes by, right? What he currently goes by. But he sung that song, Crazy. That song Crazy. And he's like, you really think you're in control? And then he's like, ha ha ha, bless your soul. So, or maybe I said that backwards. But either way, you get the point. And it kind of spoke to me in the sense that, okay, here's a guy who's aware that we as humans are not in complete control. Yes, we have freedom of choice, but God is the ruler of all things. So I just want to kind of throw those ideas out to you and try to get you back in the groove of praying to God. I love the example of Muhammad Ali. He was known to pray for hours every morning to God. And what did he end up to be? Known as the greatest boxer of all time. Okay? So, and as we see in Psalm 37:40, I'll read it again. David writes, "The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him." Okay? Think about Moses and how he had the great exodus because he was constantly consulting with God. Think about Daniel in the lion's den. He saved him from that. Think about David. Countless times. David was a war hero. Okay? He was, he was beset on all sides by all kinds of enemies and was saved. And now he's thanking God because he's saying, thank God I took refuge in him. Thank God I didn't forget him. And then we see in Haggai 1:9 where the people had built up their houses, but God diminished that because they forgot about him. So we know how God feels about it when we forget about him. So it might be good to give him a call sometimes. It doesn't take that much energy. It doesn't take that much time. You can do it in your head. You can do it in 5 minutes or less. Say a quick prayer. Give him thanks to, hey, this earth is an amazing thing that you did. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to enjoy it. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to enjoy other people and build relationships and grow and achieve goals and work. There's nothing wrong with being thankful. So I think sometimes as we progress in life and we get that promotion or we accomplish that goal or we get that big old check, we start kind of popping our own collar thinking, yeah, no, I run this show, I run this whole thing. But the reality is that you don't. So just remember, God doesn't need you. Okay? You need him. It is a privilege to be used as an instrument, okay, for God. It's not a privilege for him to be contacted, when you want something. All right? That's not much we're talking about there. Okay? And remember that he's a loyal friend that's waiting to help you. All right? And then lastly, he can change your destiny. Just like my Jamaican buddy, my Jamaican paramedic buddy, Kirk Pyle, said, it's like breadcrumbs with an ant. God will change our trajectory sometimes, man, when he needs to reroute us or when we ask. Hopefully it doesn't have to get that bad to where he has to take action without you asking. Because usually when God has to take action, he's looking down at you like, okay, it's just looking pretty bad. It's looking pretty bad. So we're going to go ahead and throw this guy or girl a bone and help him out. So remember God. And one last thing is, I met a guy at church one time, and he said something that kind of just stuck with me. He says, God's obligated to help you if you're doing the things the way that he wants you to do, right? You do know that he's obligated to help you if you're doing things the way that he wants you to do it and the way that he says. And that makes perfect sense because, I refuse to believe in a God that won't help you if you're doing exactly what he's asking. You're obeying his wishes, his commands. You're reading the word. You're trying to live, and we all fall short. So don't beat yourself up if you're out and you did something that you regret. Okay, it's good that you're human and that you regret it, but just remember that you are human. Okay, we're striving for the goal. We are not perfect. We are striving for the goal. So, with that being said, if you enjoyed the content, I hope that you hit the like button. I hope that you hit the subscribe button. And I hope that you leave a comment below if you got a story that you want to share. Maybe a testimony, maybe a Bible verse, maybe just 2 cents. Drop it in. Don't forget to check out my books on Amazon.com. I've got 2 for you. The first one is called The Corridor That Lies Between Greatness and Insanity. It'll teach you how to deal with struggle God's way. And the second book is Paramedic, 100 True Tales of a Public Servant, if you enjoy great stories. That's all I got for you today, and I will see you the next time.